Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, my dear girls? I hope you are in good health. Inshallah, today we are going to start our social course for the semester with Unit 1, Lesson 1. Today, inshallah, we are going to discuss the first 2 pages from Unit 1, Lesson 1, working with sources. Working with sources. Okay. Do you remember last year at the beginning of the social course for grade 4? There was a very important question. I just want to remind you about this question. How did people learn about the past? Do you remember when we said or talked about evidence? And we said that evidence is like a clue that can tell us about the past, like old maps, old books, buildings, and sculptures. Yeah, today we have the same lesson but in more details. Question 1. How do social scientists get information about the past? People who lived in the past, are they still alive? Is any of them is still alive to tell us information about the past? Of course not. All of them are dead. So none of them can tell us about the past. So how did we get information, or the social scientists, how did they get information about the past? From evidence. Again, from evidence that ancient people left behind. The ancient people, when they died, they left behind a lot of evidences. Examples for evidences, like what? Remains of buildings. Old buildings, old tools, old books and maps, pieces of pottery, the pots that they used to keep their food and water, bones, the bones either of people or animals, and paintings. All of them, the paintings that are found on rocks. All these things are called evidences. When people die, they leave these evidence behind. The social scientists study these evidences in order to get information about the past. Again, what is evidence? Evidence is an important source of information about life long ago. Again, evidence is an important source of information about life long ago. So, if I asked you, what is evidence? Can you answer me? Yes. Read the answer. Evidence is an important source of information about life long ago. How do social scientists get information about the past? From evidence that ancient people left behind. Can you give me examples for evidence? Yes, remains of buildings, tools, old books, maps, pieces of pottery, bones, and paintings found on rocks. Okay, did you understand these 3 points? Okay, next point. What do social science do? What is the job of the social science? By the way, there is another name for social scientists. We can call them archaeologists. Archaeologists are the social scientists who study the remains buried under the ground for old people, for old creatures, for old animals or people who lived in the past, in order to get information about the past. But why? Why do they do this? The social scientists or the archaeologists, they study sources and evidences and use them to work out how people lived in the past. They want to tell us how people lived in the past, information about people who lived in the past. This is the job of the social scientists. Did you understand these points? Alhamdulillah. Next page. The sources or the evidences. How do these sources help us learn about the past? Of course, when we find old information carved on on rocks or papers or old maps or even old buildings, these give us information and they describe how people lived in the past. Okay, the most important example for this is the old or the ancient Egyptian writing. Do you know what are they called? The ancient Egyptian writings, or the language of the ancient Egyptians? It's called hieroglyphics. Again, hieroglyphics. The hieroglyphics is the writing or the language of the ancient Egyptian people. That the hieroglyphics that were found carved in tombs, tombs like the graves of the old Egyptian or the ancient Egyptian people. Of course, the tombs of the ancient Egyptians, they had hieroglyphics, writing carved everywhere on the walls of the tombs, or even on the statues found in these tombs. These hieroglyphics, once before the scientists or the social scientists could not understand these writing, these hieroglyphics, until in the year 1799. There was a French scholar or a French scientist who was called Champollion. He found a Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone is a stone or a piece of rock that looks like a tablet, okay, with Greek and Egyptian writing carved on it. The Greek writing was known for the scientists, and because the Greek writing meant the same like the Egyptian writing, so the Greek writing were like a translation to the ancient Egyptian writing or the hieroglyphics. From the Greek writing, they could use them as a key to understand hieroglyphics. So once the scientists could understand hieroglyphics, they started to read and translate all the writings on the tombs of the ancient Egyptians, on the temples, and they could know everything about the lives of the ancient Egyptian people when they started to read or understand hieroglyphics. Again, how did they know how to understand hieroglyphics? From the Rosetta Stone. When was it found? It was found in Egypt in 1999. How did the Rosetta Stone help scholars or social science to understand the ancient Egyptian writing or hieroglyphics? Because it had Greek writing and Egyptian writing. The Greek was like a translation to the ancient Egyptian writing. So the Greek writings were the key to understand hieroglyphics. Again, what is hieroglyphics? Hieroglyphics is the ancient Egyptian writing or the ancient Egyptian language. It was mostly like pictures. This explanation, dear girls, is just like a summary for the lesson. Inshallah, in the VR lesson today, we are going to read in more details, but these are the most important points that I want you to study, because any question will come from these points. But it's very important to read the whole lesson and understand it as a whole. You understand? I wish you the best of luck. Goodbye till we meet in the VR lesson. Don't forget to watch this video before we meet together in the VR class. Okay? Thanks for your listening. Goodbye till we meet again.